Hello, my dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you in Shri Jayendra Rank Zone. I am your friend and mentor for the subject Business Economics. In this lecture, we'll continue with Chapter 4, that is Price Determination in Different Markets. And in particular, we'll continue with Unit 2, that is Determination of Prices. All the concepts will be covered in the coming series of lectures. This is lecture number 3. So let us begin. Let's see the learning outcomes of this chapter. At the end of this unit, you will be able to understand and explain how the prices are generally determined under the different markets. We'll try to describe how changes in the demand and supply affect the prices and quantities demanded and supplied. Introduction. Prices of goods expressed their exchange value. Obviously, the exchange value is in terms of money only. Prices are also used for expressing the value of various services rendered by different factors of production, that is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur, and organization in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profits respectively. Therefore, the concept of price, especially the process of price determination, is of the vital significance in economics. Thus, in this unit, we shall learn how demand and supply interact to strike a balance so that equilibrium price is determined in a free market. A free market is one in which the forces of demand and supply are free to take their own course and there is no intervention from the outside, that is, there is no intervention from the government or any entity. It is to be noted over here that it is the interaction between the demand and supply that determines the price of a product, but sometimes government also intervene in the determination of price of a product, either fully or partial determination, that is partially interfere. For example, Government of India fixes the price of petrol, diesel, kerosene, oil, fertilizers, etc., which are critical inputs. So these inputs are in the control of Government of India. So the prices of these goods are fixed by the Government of India. It also fixes the procurement of wheat, procurement of rice, sugarcane, etc. in order to protect the interest of both producers as well as the consumers of wheat, rice, sugarcane, etc. While determining these prices, the government takes an account factors like factor inputs, risk of the business, nature of the products, etc. So before fixation of price of the product, the government also takes certain factors into consideration. One of the main reasons for studying the demand and supply model is that this model is particularly useful in explaining how market works. A comprehensive knowledge of movement of these market forces enables us to explain the observed changes in equilibrium prices and quantities of all the types of products and factors. We will be able to anticipate the possible market outcomes in real market by applying the principle underlying the interaction of demand and supply. Businesses firms can use the model of demand and supply to predict the probable effects of various economic as well as non-economic factors on equilibrium prices and quantities. Over here, there is an example given that talks about the market outcomes of government intervention in the form of taxation, the subsidies given to various organizations, the price ceiling or floor prices can be analyzed with the help of equilibrium analysis. Generally, what happens if government want to discourage a product, Government put extra tax on that product. Generally, government impose extra taxation on demerit goods. Just write over here. Generally, government impose extra taxation, extra taxation on demerit goods, demerit goods like liquor, cigarette, etc. Generally, government give subsidies to goods which are helpful to the government. Example, solar panels are subsidized products, are subsidized products. Let's see a determination of prices, a general view. In an open competitive market, it is the interaction between the demand and supply that tends to determine the equilibrium price of a product or equilibrium quantity of a product. In the context of market analysis, the term equilibrium refers to state of market in which the quantity demanded of a commodity equals to the quantity supplied of a commodity. In an equilibrium stage, the aggregate quantity of all the firms wish to sell equals to the total quantity of all the buyers in the market wish to buy, and therefore the market clears itself. Equilibrium price or market clearing price is the price at which the quantity demanded of a commodity equals the quantity supplied of a commodity, and that is at this price there is no unsold stock or no unsupplied demand is there at this price. To analyze how equilibrium price is determined in the market, we need to bring together the demand for and supply of the commodity in the market. For this, we are using this following schedule. Table 3, determination of prices. My dear students, over here, the price is 1 rupee. The quantity demanded is 60 units, but quantity supplied is only 5 units. So supply is so less and demand is so high. What happens when the price of the product goes up from 1 rupee to 2 rupee? Because as per the law of supply, more units is supplied when the price increased. More units are supplied when price increases. When price increases. And less unit is supplied when price decreases. Less units are supplied when price decreases. When price of the product decreases. Over here, if I talk about as demand, so more units are demanded. More units are demanded at less price, at less price, and less unit, we can say that less units are demanded. Less units are demanded at high price. At high price. I believe it is clear to all of you. So when the price increases from 1 to 2, the supplied increases from 5 to 35. When price increases from 2 to 3, the supply increases from 35 to 45. As there is an increase in the price from 3 to 4, the supply also increased from 45 to 35. When the price increased from 4 to 5, the supplier supplied more units in the market, and that is 55 to 65. If I talk about the demand, when the price increases from 1 to 2, the demand decreases from 60 to 35. When price increases from 2 to 3, there is a more decrease in demand from 35 to 20. When price increases from 3 to 4, the demand shrinks from 20 to 15. And when the price increased from 4 to 5, there is a decrease in demand from 15 to 10. So we can say that when we plot the above points on a single graph on y-axis, the quantity demanded and supplied, we get this following figure. We get this figure. On y-axis, we have shown prices. On x-axis, quantity is shown in terms of units. So this is the demand curve. This is the supply curve. This price is known as equilibrium price. This price is known as equilibrium price, where the demand and supply are equals. This quantity is known as equilibrium quantity, and this is the equilibrium price. What is the equilibrium quantity? What is the equilibrium quantity? At 2 rupees, when the price was 2 rupee, the quantity demanded was 35, the quantity supplied was also 35. So 35 is considered to be the equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium quantity. Quantity equal to 35 units. Equilibrium price is rupee 4. It is easy to see that what we will in the market price of the article. It cannot be rupee 1. Why? Because at that price there would be 60 units in demand but only 5 units in supply. Competition among the buyers would force the price to go up. On the other hand, it cannot be rupee 5. Why? Because it cannot be 5 for that price. There would be 65 units to offer and only 10 units is in the demand. Competition among sellers would force the price to come down. At 2 rupees, demand and supply are equals, that is 35 units, and the market price will tend to settle at this figure only. This is equilibrium price and quantity. The point at which price and output will tend to stay. Once at this point is achieved, that is at price 2, 35 units is achieved, we will have stable equilibrium. Equilibrium is said to be stable if any disturbance to it is self-adjusting so that the original equilibrium is restored again. In other words, we can say that if the equilibrium is disrupted, the market returns to equilibrium. It should be noted that it would be stable only if other things remains constant in the market. Figure 7 will demonstrate how stable equilibrium is achieved through price mechanism or market mechanism. That is market forces. Market forces. That is market mechanism. If the market price is above the equilibrium price, say 15 rupees, the market supply is greater than market demand. There is an excess supply in the market and excess surplus on the market. Competing sellers will lower the prices in order to clear their unsold stock. And what will happen? As we know, other things remaining constant, as price falls, the quantity demanded rises and quantity supplied falls. In this price, the supply demand gap is reduced and eventually eliminated, thus restoring equilibrium. Stable equilibrium. This is the demand curve. This is the demand curve. This is the supply curve. This is known as the equilibrium price. This is equilibrium quantity, that is 100 units. Over here, this is shortage. If this is surplus. If the price will go up to 15, there would be extra supply in the market, and this would be surplus. If there would be a decreased price, the suppliers would not be ready to supply goods into the market, and this triangle will is showing here the shortage. I believe you understood. Let us continue. Likewise, if the prevailing market price is below equilibrium, say 5, in our example, a shortage arises in the quantity demanded, because at this price, supply would be so much, but demand would be so less. The shortage prompts the price to rise, and the buyers who are unable to obtain as much of goods as they desire bid the higher price. The market tends to increase, other things remaining constant, other things remaining the same, the price rise cause a decrease in the quantity demanded by the buyers and the increase in the quantity supplied by the sellers, and vice versa. This process will continue as the demand exceeds supply. The market thus achieves a state where the quantity that firms sells is equal to the quantity that the consumer is desiring to buy. At equilibrium price, that is 10 rupees, we can say that the supply decision of the firm tend to match with the demand decision of the buyer. See over here, at 10 rupees, the demand and supply matched. Thus, the equilibrium is restored automatically through the fundamental working of the market and price movements, eliminate shortage or surplus. This happens because of price mechanism or market mechanism. Understood? The next topic is changes in demand and supply. The above analysis of market equilibrium was done by as under ceteris paribus assumptions, other things being equal. The facts of the real world, however, are such that the determinants of demand other than the price of the commodity under consideration, determinants like income of the consumer, taste and preference of the consumer, population, technology, prices of factor of production, etc., always change, causing a shift in the demand and supply. Such shift affect equilibrium price and quantity. The four possible changes in demand and supply are: number one, an increase, that is shift to the right in demand, increase in demand, decrease in demand, that is shift to the left, and increase in supply, that is shift to the right, and decrease in supply, that is shift to the left. We will consider each of the above changes one by one. Point number one, an increase in the demand. The original demand curve of a normal good is DD and the supply curve is SS. At equilibrium, that is OP, demand and supply are equal to OQ. At price OP, demand and supply, that is OQ, are equal at point E, that is equilibrium. Now, suppose the money income of the consumer increases and demand curve shift to D1. Income of the consumer increased, and because of that, there is a positive shift in the demand curve from DD to D1. And the supply curve remains the same. That means what? There is an increase in demand and the supply is same. So with the increase in demand, the price of the product will increase. we will see that the new demand curve D1 at OP price, the demand increased to OQ2 while the supply remains same. The demand is OQ2 over here, but supply remains the same. What happens then? That is OQ, and there is an excess demand in the market equals to OQ2. Since supply is short of demand, price will shoot up to OP1. With the higher price, the supply will also shoot up, generating an increase in the quantity supplied in the market and upward movement along with the supply curve. Ultimately, a new equilibrium between demand and supply will be reached. At this equilibrium, at price OP1 is the price and OQ1 is the quantity which is demanded and supplied. You can see over here OP is the price and OQ is the quantity. At E it is the equilibrium. With the same price there is an increased demand, and the new demand is D1. Because there is a more demand, the price will go up from OP to OP1. Because there is an increase in the price, the supply will also increase in the market, and now the new equilibrium is reached to point E1 over here at price P1, and the new quantity, the equilibrium quantity is OQ1. I think it is clear. I believe it is clear to all of you. Thus, we see that with the increase in demand, there is an increase in the equilibrium price, as a result of which the quantity supplied rises. As such, the quantity sold and purchased also increases. Situation number 2, that is decrease in demand. The opposite will happen when demand falls as a result of fall in income while supply remains the same in the market. The demand curve will shift to the left and becomes D1 remains as it is. With the new demand curve D1, the original price is OP, OQ2 is the quantity demanded and OQ is quantity supplied. As the supply exceeds demand, price needs to come down and the quantity demanded will go up. New equilibrium price, that is OP1 will be settled in the market where demand is OQ1 and the equal to quantity supplied, that is OQ1. I believe you understood this. There is a that because the income of the consumer shrinks, there is a considerable decrease in the income of the consumer, and with the decreased income the consumer is demanding less now, so the demand curve will shift from DD to D1. The supply curve remains the same, and because the demand has come down, the supply remains curve the same, so the price of the goods had reduced from OP to OP1. So OP1 is the new price. At OP1 the demand and supply equals at point E1, that is the equilibrium price. Over here Q1 is the equilibrium quantity. I believe you understood this. Thus we can say that with the decrease in demand, there is a decrease in the equilibrium price and quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Let's continue. Point number 3. Case 3, increase in supply. Let us now assume that demand does not change at all. That means demand remains same. But there is an increase in supply in the market because of the improved technology. The supply curve SS will shift to the right and becomes S1. As you can see over here, the supply curve shift to the right, that is from SS to S1. At the original equilibrium price, that is OP, OQ is the demand and OQ2 is supplied. OQ2 is supplied. At the original price, a surplus now exists. As a result of that, the equilibrium price falls and the quantity demanded rises. a new equilibrium price, that is OP1, will be settled at a market where demand is OQ1 will be equal to supply, that is OQ1. Thus, the resultant increase in supply with demand remaining the same, and the equilibrium price will go down and quantity demanded will go up. Just see over here, the supply has increased from SS to S1. The demand remains the same. That means what? Because of the increase in supply in the market, the price will fall from OP to OP1. The price will fall from OP to OP1. Because of the decrease in the price, the demand also increases, and the new equilibrium attained at point OP1, that is E1 is the new equilibrium, Q1 is the new equilibrium quantity, and P1 is the new equilibrium price. Let us continue and see case 4, that is decrease in supply. In figure 11, the supply curve SS will now shift to the left and becomes S and becomes S1. So at equilibrium price, that is OP, OQ is the quantity demanded and OQ is the original price. A deficit now exists. As a result, equilibrium price rises and the quantity demanded decreases. The new equilibrium price, that is OP1, will be settled in the market where demand is OQ, supply is OQ1. See over here, there is a decrease in supply. Because there is a decrease in supply, the demand remains the same. The price of the product increases from OP to OP1. Because the price of the product increases, there is a considerable decrease in demand. So the demand changes, and over here, this is the final demand, that is, this is the point where the demand and supply cuts together, that is the equilibrium quantity is OQ1. Thus, as a result of decrease in the supply, we find that equilibrium price will go up, but the amount sold and purchased will go down. Let's see the new situations now. Simultaneous increase in the demand and supply. Simultaneous increase in the demand and supply. Till now, we were considering the effect of change in either demand or supply on the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity sold or purchased. It sometimes happens that event shift both the demand as well as the supply curve at the same point of time. This is not a usual conditions in real life. Supply curve and demand curves for many goods and services typically shift quite often because of continuous change. Continuous change in economic environment. During a war, for example, shortage of goods will often lead to decrease in their supply, while full employment causes high total wages payment, which increases the demand. What happens when the demand and supply shift in the same direction? We may discuss the effect of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity when both demand as well as supply increases simultaneously with the help of the following diagram. Over here in figure 12, simultaneous change in demand and supply is shown over here. In figure A, if you could see properly, there is an equal change in demand and equal change in supply. That means what? The demand and supply is changed in equal. See this distance over here and this distance over here. So there is an equal change in demand and supply, and because of that, the price of the product has not changed. Price remains same when the demand and supply of the product has increased. So supposingly, earlier the demand used to be 100 units and supply used to be 100 units. Now the demand changed to 200 units, supply also changed to 200 units. So price will remain same. Earlier also the price used to be 10 rupees, and now also the price used to be only 10 rupees. I believe you understood. This is demand, this is price, this is supply. See situation B in figure B. Over here, there is a more increase in the demand. There is a more increase in the demand, but there is a very less increase in the supply. Just see over here in this example, suppose the price is 10 rupees, the demand is 100 and the supply is also 100. Over here, the demand has increased more, that is from 100 to 200, but supply has only increased from 100 to 150. This means what? Demand is more than supply, so price will increase to somewhere over here 15. So price will increase because there is a considerable change in demand, increase in demand, but supply has not increased up to that extent, and so there would be, the price will shoot up, that is the price will increase. I believe you understood situation B. Let us see situation C now. Over here, the demand has increased very low, but the supply has increased so much. Take an example over here. Suppose the price of the product is 10 rupees, the demand is 100, the supply is also 100. Over here, the demand has increased from 100 to 120, but supply has increased from 100 to 200. Because there is a major increase in the supply, in that case, the price of the product will fall from 10 to 9. So over here, because as you can see, there is a big change in the supply. The supply has increased a lot, but there is a very tiny increase in the demand. So the price of the product will come down. I believe you understood situation C. Let us continue now. Figure 12 shows simultaneous change in demand as well as supply and its effect on the equilibrium price. In this figure, we have seen that the original demand curve is DD and original supply curve is SS that meets at point E, at which OP is the equilibrium price and OQ is the equilibrium quantity, as you can see over here. In figure 12a shows that increase in the demand is equal to increase in the supply. That means what? There is the demand is increased by 100 units. The supply also increased by 100 units. So there is no change in the price. Just see over here, increase in the demand is 100 units. Increase in the supply is 100 units. So both are equals. The new demand curve D will meet at point E is more. Over here you can see point E1. In figure 2, this figure shows that increase in the demand is more than increase in the supply. Hence, the new equilibrium price is OP1 and that is higher than the old equilibrium price, that is OP. The new equilibrium price is OP1 over here. This is higher than the old equilibrium price which was OP. This is possible. The opposite will happen, that is the equilibrium price will go down if there is simultaneous fall in the demand as well as supply, and fall in the demand is more than the fall in the supply. Fall in the demand is more than the fall in the supply. You can see it over here. The demand has, let us continue and see figure 12.C. Figure 12.C shows that supply increases in a greater portion as compared to demand. The new equilibrium price will be less than the original equilibrium price. Conversely, if the fall in the supply is more proportionate to the fall in the demand, the equilibrium price will go up. See figure 12.C. What is the effect of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity when both demand and supply decreases? You will check it yourself with the help of diagrams. So over here, what we have learnt is we have increased the demand, increased the supply, but in figure 1, we have equally increased the demand and supply, and we learned that if equal change in demand and supply will happen, in that case the price will remain same. If demand has increased more as compared to increase in sale, but increase in sale is less as compared to increase in demand, the price will shoot up from OP to OP1. But in the third case, the demand has increased, but there is a very tiny increase in the demand, very little increase in the demand, but there is a vast increase in the supply. In that case, what will happen? The price will come down from OP to OP1. The opposite cases would also be possible. In that case, we can say that suppose in figure A, if there is a decrease in the demand and decrease in the supply, but decrease in the demand and there is an equal decrease in the supply, in that case also the price will remain same. In the second case, we can say that if there is a decrease in the demand, but decrease in demand is more and decrease in supply is less, in that case, demand has decreased so much that there is very less demand in the market, and because the demand is less, the price will come down. In situation C, if there is a decrease in the demand, but decrease in demand is very less, but decrease in supply is so much, so because there is the decrease in supply is so much over there, supposingly in that case what happened, there is very little goods available in the market, that leads the market to increase, so the price will shoot up in situation C. We can summarize the two possible outcomes when the supply as well as demand curve shift in the same direction as follows. First, when both demand and supply increases, the equilibrium quantity increases but the equilibrium price is uncertain. Second situation, when the demand and supply decreases, the equilibrium quantity decreases but the change in the equilibrium price is uncertain. What happens when the demand as well as supply curve shift in opposite direction? We may discuss the effect of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity when the demand and supply curve shift in opposite direction with the help of diagrams. Just see it over here. Effect of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity when demand and supply shift in opposite directions. In figure A, as you can see, there is an increase in demand. There is a increase in demand but decrease in supply. Decrease in supply. There is an increase in demand and decrease in supply, and because of that the price will go up from OP to OP1. The price will increase from OP to OP1. In situation B, if you could see, the demand has increased but supply has decreased. Over here, decrease in supply and increase in demand. Increase in demand. Supply has decreased but supply is decreased but demand has increased. In this case, because there is a considerable decrease in supply, the price will go up. The price will shoot from OP to OP1. Just see this. In panel A, there is a simultaneous rightward shift in the demand curve and simultaneous leftward shift in the supply curve. Here, the increase in the demand is more as decrease in supply. Therefore, the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity will rise because there is an increase in demand but decrease in supply. In panel B, there is also a coincident rightward shift in the demand curve and leftward shift in the supply curve. Here, the decrease in supply is more than the increase in demand. Consequently, we can say that the equilibrium price rises and the equilibrium quantity falls. In both the cases, the equilibrium price rises from P to P1 as the equilibrium moves from E to E1. What is the effect on quantity? In panel A, the increase in demand is large relative to the decrease in supply and equilibrium quantity rises as a result of this. In panel B, the decrease in supply is large in relative to increase in demand and equilibrium quantity falls as a result of this. And that is when demand increases and supply decreases, the actual quantity bought and sold can go either way depending on how much the demand and supply curve have shifted. Just see over here. In general, we can say that when supply and demand shift in opposite directions, we cannot predict what is the ultimate effect on the quantity bought and quantity sold. And what can we say? What we can say is that a curve that shift in disproportionately greater distance than the other curve will have a disproportionately greater effect on the quantity bought and quantity sold. We summarize the two possible outcomes. We summarize the two possible outcomes when the supply as well as demand curve shift in the opposite directions as follows. When demand increases and supply decreases, the equilibrium price rises, but nothing certain can said about the changes in the equilibrium quantity. When demand decreases but supply increases, the equilibrium price falls, but nothing can be said about the change in equilibrium quantity. I believe you understood this. Let's take a quick recap what we have done in today's class. We learned the determination of prices, a general view we have discussed about the determination of prices on the basis of market mechanism, that is the price mechanism. We had seen the determination of equilibrium price because of the demand and supply on the basis of demand and on the basis of supply curve. This is stable equilibrium. We have seen the changes in the demand and supply, increase in demand, decrease in demand, increase in supply, decrease in supply. We have seen the various cases in relation to this: case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, and simultaneous changes in the demand and supply curve. Simultaneous change could be a positive change, could be a negative change. It may happen that both the demand and supply both will increase, or demand and supply both will decrease, but in various proportions, maybe in equal proportion, maybe more, maybe less, maybe less, maybe more. And over here we have seen that the effect on equilibrium price and quantity when demand and supply curve shift in opposite direction and not in simultaneous directions. Let us keep it till here only. We'll continue. We'll continue from here. Thank you.